now I'm like, ooh, maybe I will work until 3:30 today. So
go crazy.
I'm not going
go
to.
Crazy. Hey there, hi there, ho there, and welcome to another episode of the Better Merch, Better Marketing podcast. I am one of the hosts, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today, as always, is the branding bestie herself. Both of us on kind of muted backgrounds today. The branding bestie looking super gray. Jade Kreider, how are you?
I am good. Our house is partially packed. My office in particular was one of the first rooms to get fully packed. So we are in the kitchen and making the most of it today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know how you're feeling right this minute about the move. I'm excited for the move for you. If for no other reason as I feel like you've been in sort of no man's land for like it's like I'm almost ready. I'm sort of ready. I can't have Wi-Fi until I get there or water or whatever it was. It's like
all the things.
It's like I understand where you're like, can I just go? And so moving across the country, that's got to be fairly stressful. So, and then as for here, we've been pretty busy. June's a little bit like it's been strangely, we're up over last year, so that's good, but we're busy. And so now it's like, okay, how do we finish the second quarter strong and get ready for third quarter? And that always gets me excited. So if you are new around here, this is the Better Merch, Better Marketing podcast. And our goal is to bring you better merch and better marketing, elevate your marketing. And it's brought to you by Hasseman Marketing. You can learn more about us at hassemanmarketing.com. We've got tools and all kinds of stuff there. So head over to hassemanmarketing.com. You can get the target marketing playbook, the targeted hiring playbook, all sorts of good stuff. So let's dive into our topics today, Jade.
I'm ready whenever you are, Kirby Lee.
Okay.
Do you want me to go or you to go?
Yeah. Go ahead and then I'll introduce the second one.
Yeah. So our first one is going to be the lessons we learned in 20-something episodes. I was really hoping you would introduce this one because I don't remember what episode we're on. But so just kind of the things that
6 months worth of episodes.
6 months worth of episodes. So what have we learned and what have we taken from it and things like that? Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I've got a few. Do you have a few
I have 3.
Okay, perfect. That's how many I have. Okay, so lesson number 1, I think that for me, this is a lesson I learned a long time ago, but it's been fun to watch you evolve on this. And the lesson is simply just have fun with it and be yourself. I think that I haven't gone back and watched like episode 1, but I've had people comment to me how that's been fun to watch you get more comfortable and be more, have more fun with the topics. And I think that when you are doing anything like this, it takes courage. You have to put yourself out there. I know that you were a little nervous about this starting out. But I think if you have a plan and then you do have fun with it and you are your authentic self, that's one of those things that I think you'll be fine.
I like it. That's a good one. My first lesson is done is better than perfect. It's one that has been told to me for forever, but it's one of those that once you do it, you learn it. And today is honestly a great example. I need to shower. I need to wash my hair. I need to clean the kitchen. The house is half packed and I don't have makeup on, but we're still going to probably talk about some really cool stuff today that I'm actually excited about. And it's not perfect and I'm not edited and it's not a full perfect thing, but I've done that a couple times and some of those have been some of my favorite episodes. So that was my first one.
That's a really good one.
It was a good one for today since there's boxes in front of me. Today is not the perfect episode, but that's okay. It's still fun. And done.
So this is, I think, maybe a good transition. So one of the things that we did, my second lesson here has to do with the graphics. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to create something that just had a different look than every other podcast that I'm watching. Whether that's the big ones or the little ones. So we created those graphics along the side. Jade spends a lot of time coming up with topics and preparing the podcast and stuff. And then I would say, I don't think I'm saying too much out of line. So I spend a lot of time on the back end, creating the graphics, editing, doing, I actually spend way more time on this podcast than I have on previous podcasts. I edit.
You get all the credit for that because I don't even have to think about it and I love it.
Yeah. So I so I think that it's good to create something that's different. The one thing I think that's important is to iterate on a regular basis and decide if it matters. Because this is something that I'm really trying to decide right now, because if I didn't do it this way, it would cut down probably an hour or so every week on the back end of this.
On
and
editing.
So be willing to break the things that are sacred, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know if that's a
absolutely.
great lesson, but it's like I've spent a lot of time and effort creating the visuals of this, where over on the side there are graphics that explain what the topics are and all this stuff. It's kind of an ode to PTI, pardon the interruption, on ESPN. But I don't know if anybody cares. So
fair. So maybe everybody should let us know if you care about
yeah,
graphics or not.
all joking aside, if that's something that, because I think our audience on audio is actually bigger than our audience on video. And so I'm deciding how to do that, and I'm willing to make that change, even though it was my idea.
I like it. That's a good one.
Okay.
My next one is very similar to my first lesson, but it's different I have a different reason why I learned it. My second one is you won't always feel inspired, but do it anyways.
Yes.
Because there were days where, again, I come up with a lot of the topics, and I really struggled on some of the there's been weeks where I was like, "Ooh, I'm kind of excited about this week's," and there have been weeks where I went, I mean, they're topics. We'll talk about them. And then, ironically, some of those have been some of my favorite conversations because they've been less thought. Like, they were just very more conversational than they were like me having bullet point type things. And so you won't always feel inspired, but just do it anyways.
Yeah, because the market decides.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are, and I've talked about this for years, that like the blog post I thought was going to change the world, nobody cared about. The blog post that I just put together because I said I would do a blog post that day was the one that went much better. And so, I think one of the big things that I've talked about recently is that we wait for motivation to take action. And we need to take action. And when we do that consistently, it creates motivation. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
And so I think that goes to your point there.
Yeah.
My third is it's okay to take a break. And that's so as we are recording this is going to be, this is going to drop the last part of June. I think June 27th is going to be the day that this drops. We went through this a lot. So we've done 6 months. That first 6 months, we're calling season 1 of Better Merch, Better Marketing. Between Jade moving, me taking some different kind of work, we were trying to figure out how to continue recording this. And to be honest, in past lives, I would have just, Jade knows this. We would go on family vacations and I would take podcast microphones to Mexico so that I could record with my buddy Bill. And I was proud of that. And Bill and I were very proud of that because we just kept things going. We were all about consistency. And I think that there's a ton of value in that. But I think it's also about being intentional. And it's okay if you are intentional to take a break. Like, we are scheduling July off, but come August 1st, there's going to be a season 2 starts, right? So and I think that's the key, is that people sometimes they miss a day and then it's gone forever. Like, they're just done. And as long as you're intentional about taking a break, I think can be valuable. It can create scarcity. And so I hope that's our plan. I think it's okay to take a break. So if you are listening to this really quickly, we are going to be taking July off. Delivering Marketing Joy is still coming. I'm still going to have some DMJ one-on-ones dropping. So the Delivering Marketing Joy podcast, if you subscribe, there's still going to be content out there, but we're taking a break for Better Merch, Better Marketing. And my lesson is, I think that's okay.
I like that one. My final one is, this one I actually saw on something else and was like, oh, I kind of like that because it kind of hit home. You never realize the start of something big. It just kind of happens. So it was an interesting thing of I started posting on social media for our company in particular. And you took me to a couple industry events, and I didn't realize that was the start of me truly loving this industry. It just happened. Yeah. And so this podcast, we just did it. And I a little bit just did it because Dad said I was supposed to do a podcast, so I did a podcast. I don't really know what I'm doing. And now it's one of the highlights of my week. So on Wednesdays is when we record this typically, and so I look forward to Wednesdays now. And so you don't always realize the start of something big. It just kind of happens sometimes. So I'm hoping that this is the start of something big.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Send good vibes.
No, that's a really good one. I like that one. Okay, so as we mentioned, just really quickly, we are going to be taking a break in July. It's okay. We'll be coming back in August. So let's jump to our next topic. I'll set this one up for you.
Okay.
You got a really big opportunity to work on a project recently, and those are always exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big gifting opportunity. I don't know that we want to share the client or anything like that.
You're on my read my mind.
Yep. But when you get an opportunity like that,
Mm-hmm.
I was proud, intrigued, interested to watch you and your thought process as you went through this, because
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to do something that was out of the box. It was creative.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I were talking about what you were doing in order to get inspired. And I think I'm the one who suggested this as a topic, because I'm like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
this is outside of, hey, we've got an event coming up and we need pens, right? We've got 3 different categories. It's a much bigger dollar amount. We want to really wow people. So talk to me a little bit about how'd you do it? How'd you go through and kind of get your inspiration and what you learned?
Yeah, I love it. I've been really enjoying this. I can say it frankly, I've been a little bit burnout the last couple weeks because I've been doing a lot of kind of putting out of fires and just checking off the boxes a lot lately. So this was like a very fun breakup of my day kind of thing, if that makes sense. So the client came to me, said that they had a budget, said that there were different tiers that we were going within. And then she kind of mentioned the idea of like a themed box. That was shout out to the client because that was kind of on their part. And I was like, okay. And of course, on the spot, on the call, I was like, themes. I don't know. Of course, then I got off and started doing some research because I was like, okay, cool. I get to just be creative. I don't get to just like, here's a bunch of money, go shopping. I don't get to do that as much anymore. And so once we were talking about it, and I was bouncing ideas off of everybody, one of the ideas that was suggested to me was my sister said to do kind of like a mood board for my own mental sake. And so truthfully, I got on Pinterest because that's where I go when I need just like little inspiration things. And so through Pinterest, went back to ChatGPT and said, all right, let's talk themes. What do we got going? Like, they gave me a bunch that sucked, and I picked my favorite that didn't suck. And so then I kind of went with those themes, got on Pinterest, and created a mood board for each of these themes. So there was a self-care kit, there was a grilling kit, there was a kitchen, like gathered, and I gave them all a little bit more luxury name, which I thought was kind of a fun way to, I don't know, it just felt a little bit more elevated than like the barbecue kit. And so it was season and sear and things like that. So we went through and created a whole thing. And then I found items that fit within that kind of theme or array, if you could say. And I essentially thought to myself, like, how do I create a basket that would look really cool? And that if I was getting this gift, what are something that I would be like, oh, okay, that's actually really cool. And not just, oh, cool. Whatever.
Right. Well, and I think that's the moment where we can use our own jadedness, pun intended, for the industry, because like if we would be excited to get it, we've seen all this stuff, and so if we'd be excited to get it, then the end user,
then it's probably decent. Like it's probably something we really like. But then it started my wheels turning, I think, and I'm kind of going a little bit off track. But Kirby knows. Then I got on the kick of like, oh, there's this gift that I wanted to do for like a friend last year for Christmas. Wait, I could do that with merch. And so then it got me on this whole kick of like ways that you can do gifts. And so one of the things that I learned was, number one, every now and again, you need a fun project. Spark your interest and spark your creativity again. That just was top of my brain. I'm really proud of that one. I just learned that like I just needed a reset, and because it's kind of sparked me up again. And now it was good timing because third quarter is getting ready to start. But also it was just a very like, I don't know, it was a fun project. I got to just shop, and now I'm meeting with some of my suppliers and talking about, okay, how do we do this for each budget? How do I do this so that I can show it to my clients that only have $25? How can we put together something still so unique and so thoughtful that can have their branding on it without being it, Hasseman marketing. And so I was just trying to find some other ways that we could do that. And so it's been a really fun process, and we're still working on it. And I'm going to try and do a whole video series around. I'm excited about all of it, frankly.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. if this drops on Friday, on Wednesday, I interviewed Stephanie Hinkle for Deliver Marketing Joy. And she spent a whole time, like one of the questions I asked her was about creativity. And she talked about going to magazines and going to like finding those those sort of creative sources outside, inside, all over. Whenever you talk to a really, truly creative person, it's actually hard to get them to explain their creative process because they see it everywhere. And I think that what I enjoyed was watching you go through that process and be like, oh, I need to think outside the box. I need to think differently. And you kind of driving that. And I think, again, we'll see where it ends up. We don't know. But at the end of the day, the client was like, oh, well, this is more than I expected. And that's always exciting. Whether they buy something or not, we can't control that. But if we can dazzle them, generally good things happen. So.
That, and again, if nothing else, it sparked my inspiration again, and it got me going again. So like, I have actually already ruled this project as a success. I don't care what happens at I mean, I would love the order, don't get me wrong, but it was a success because I'm motivated again, and I'm excited, and I have a couple more supplier meetings, and I get to get in front of people, and I'm just excited about it again, which not that I wasn't liking my job. I actually have always liked my job. I just was in a little bit of like a go through the motion kind of phase, and this is now I'm like, ooh, maybe I will work until 3:30 today. So
go crazy.
I'm not going to.
Go crazy. All right, what's the next topic? I think it's about our show, right?
Yeah, so I thought we could just take a minute. It doesn't have to be anything drawn out, but just kind of talk about our show. I think we mention it a lot, and because we know exactly what it is, but we have quite a few new customers and things like that are coming this year that I had the realization that like, oh, when we say customer show, they don't actually know what to expect, what's going on. And so I thought we could just kind of talk about it.
Yeah. So background on the show. I mean, if you are a longtime customer listener, you probably know this, but we were really early to the end user trade show, end user customer show. It was just something that I'd actually seen in other industries. And we started inviting suppliers to meet with our clients one-on-one because they know their product line better than we could ever. And they have more samples because they're going to trade shows all the time. And so we've been doing it for 15 or 20 years. We invite all of our clients in. There's food, there's drinks. We have a theme every year. And then we invite the suppliers to come in and set up their trade shows so that our clients get to experience that for themselves. And it's like I say all the time, Jade, it's like whenever I can't get all this in my truck. I can't get all this in my car. Right. And so people get to come and really see and experience, and it's been great. So, how did I do explaining?
You did good. I think it's always fun. One of the things that like I didn't fully understand until I kind of understood it, if that makes sense, kind of from the outside perspective, is that the goal a lot of times for us, and I don't know if people even know this, maybe we don't do a perfect job of it, is to show you how to do an event though. Like the goal is to show you how it's done. The goal is to give you ideas for your next event, to spark ideas for holiday gifting, whatever it is. But we do little things that we've talked about it before. And if you haven't watched previous episodes, you should, because we talk about throwing events and things like that. But what you smell, what you see, we work really hard on this. It's actually, we probably are overdue for a meeting here before too long about it. But so it's actually a really fun process, frankly. If nothing else, we try and make it, it's a fun, I remember even before I was in the industry enjoying coming to the show, even just as a kid, because there's music going, there's snacks, people are happy, people are in a good mood. So if nothing else, it's a fun little networking kind of thing. And so come check it out if you haven't before.
And we so if you go to show.hassemanmarketing.com, you can register for free. And if you register early, there's some extra bonus stuff. So I would recommend that. A couple things I would recommend if you're going to come to do is come with projects, or sort of projects in mind is always good. So if you have year-end gifts coming up, if you like, so I've seen a lot of people, a big percentage will come and say, okay, I'm looking for year-end gifts for my team or for my best customers and stuff like that. But there's actually sort of the 2.0 version of this is clients who come and go, I'm looking for next year. I'm actually planning out first quarter, second quarter. I know I've got an event in the second quarter of next year. So I think those are the folks that get the most out of the event. And so coming with those in mind is just that's kind of like the next level.
Yeah. And we do that even when we go to trade shows. I mean, I go in with homework. Typically I go in with a list of projects that we have coming up or that clients have coming up and things that's going on. And it makes it sometimes those can be a little overwhelming. Not but like the products, there's so many cool products that sometimes you get easily distracted. And so having kind of an end goal that then you feel like at the end of the day you have accomplished something too, because not only have you come and hang out and have some fun, but now you're like, oh look, I look good because I found 3 answers and I got a break from work. I got to get out of the office for 20 minutes. So something to consider.
Well, I think to your point, we have 1 million products in our industry, over 1 million products. But at our event, there's thousands of products. And so it can be wildly overwhelming if you don't come with a plan. And so if you come with like 3 or 4 projects, for me, I find that it helps keep my brain focused. And so and I think that's exactly what you were trying to get at there. So because then you still might see stuff that have nothing to do with the things on your list.
Yeah.
But if you
then you'll just be excited about those.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's talk about the product of the week. All right. What's it going to be, Jade?
If those of you who aren't watching, you should this week to tell us about the graphics and to watch the dumb things I do randomly. This week's product of the week is the measuring tape that is my favorite thing on planet Earth. So that's a super small. If you're not watching again, you should be this week. It's a super small measuring tape, less than $5, and is super nice. Like even my husband, who was like, "Great, you brought home another crap." Nope, he loves this one. We have like 3 of these throughout the house. I've lost 2 of them. This is the only one I have, and it is in my moving box, aka my overnight box that has to stay with me at all times because this thing is perfect. It's just small enough. It gets the job done, and yet it is sturdy. It is heavy. It is a nice measuring tape.
Yeah,
it's really cute.
Yeah, that's actually the one thing that when we do these, I mean, if you're in the realtor space, you're in the construction space, whatever, because these are things that can be used wherever. When I give these away, this is the one thing that people say is they're like, "Oh, that has a nice feel to it. It's heavy," and I think that subconsciously we tend to gauge how nice something is by how heavy it is. Often, right?
I can see that.
Like think about when you grab something and it has more girth to it, you're like, oh, wow, that's something. And so, this is a really nice tape measure.
Go ahead with the shout out before I get dirty jokes in my head.
No, go ahead. I can't think of what you might be talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right. So let's talk about our shout out this week. Remember when I said to be authentic and be yourself? I mean, it only goes so far. I
owned that. I took it with Brand.
Yeah. All right. Our shout out this week is to our good pals at Good Boy Bakery. I don't know. I knew Jade would be excited about this. So Good Boy Bakery is a retail shop in Coshocton in Roscoe Village, actually. And they started as a retail shop, but they actually make their own dog treats and they make their own woofles, as it were. And they just got a big grant from, I think it's Jobs Ohio. I don't quote me on this, but so these Jade is on video showing you some of the treats. So they actually make custom treats. And Maverick gets excited when he sees them. But they just got a grant for a new piece of machinery so that they can make these at a much higher clip and so they're going to start wholesaling this. And so, I think the Port Authority was a part of this. There was all kinds of organizations that kind of came together to help him and Kathy, his wife, get that grant. And so the announcement came out today. I am really fired up for him. I think it's going to be great. And he's got some wholesale customers and he hasn't even tried for them yet. And so I think this is where his business could really take off. For those who don't know, we have a motel in town. I swear this will make sense. So the Roscoe Boutique Motel, and we allow dogs. And so when somebody tells us they have a dog, we actually give them a treat from Good Boy Bakery. That's part of the special. They spend some time on
these
things.
They do such a good job. If you can't tell, we're big fans here at the Hasseman house, at the Kreider house. We have lots of them. They're sent to us very regularly. Good Boy Bakery has our address because we like the treats. And I'm about to give him one so he stops barking. So shout out to Good Boy Bakery. That's so exciting.
We're right. And Brad and Kathy are just good humans.
Yes.
Who take care of Good Boy Bakery and Good Boys and all that stuff. So
and Maverick.
excited for them. So that's really, really cool. So congratulations to those folks at Good Boy Bakery. And yeah, I think that's going to wrap up this week's episode. And again, we're going to take a quick break, about a 1 month break. We'll be back on August 1st with season 2 of
in the
Better
new
Merch,
house.
Better Marketing. That's right. We got to get Jade out of this house and into the new house, and then we can start thinking about doing this again.
Just kidding. Yeah, progress is to happen.
All right. Well, thank you. If you're listening to this, thank you so much for listening each and every week. If you want to learn more about us, just go to hassemanmarketing.com. We've got the Target Marketing Playbook. We've got the Target Hiring Playbook, tools to help you grow and have better merch and better marketing. And of course, we've got content, all kinds of content if you click on the blog. So thanks for following along. We'll see you next time.
Love you. Bye.